Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Friday Charge, brought to you by Geek Studios. As always, we are your hosts, Joel and Sebastian, and today, March 20th, 2026, we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the i3, heck yeah. We're going to talk about Volvo, unfortunately. We're going to talk about Ionna. We're going to talk about Rivian. We're going to talk about Volkswagen. Who knows what else we might think of. So without further ado, let's plug in and get started. All right. Our first topic is a pretty cool one. I'm pretty pumped about this. This week, BMW pulled the wraps off of its next generation electric 3 Series sedan, the i3. The BMW i3 is the second EV that BMW has revealed as part of its new platform and design language, and it shares pretty heavily with the previously announced iX3 SUV. This new class EV, new class is the translation. It's like Neue Klasse. My German's not very good. My German's not very good. Anyway, this new class EV features an 800-volt architecture with preliminary EPA range of 440 miles.
That's what I'm talking about, boss man.
From a 108 kilowatt-hour battery pack. The company is claiming a peak DC fast charge speeds of 400 plus kilowatts. I always think it's interesting when manufacturers say plus. Mm-hmm. You know the number. Anyway.
It's like 402. They also claim, they just don't want to say. Yeah.
They also say that the vehicle will do 200 kilowatts on a 400-volt charger, which is a win. Mm-hmm. And while they haven't given a specific charge time, they did say that the car could add 250 miles of range in 10 minutes. And considering it seems like it's the same battery pack or very similar to the iX3, and we know that car does 10 to 80 in 21 minutes, which is pretty respectable for a 100 something kilowatt hour battery pack. This vehicle is also going to be NACS native at launch for the North American market. The launch model is expected to be the i350 xDrive. BMW, you still need to work on your trim naming anyway, because it's i3 space 50 space xDrive.
To be very long on the back of the car.
This model is all-wheel drive and will feature 463 horsepower and 476 pound-feet of torque. There will, of course, also be rear-wheel drive variants that come out. I'm sure there's going to be an M version at some point. And so, anyway, this is just the model they've given us details on so far. Design-wise, this keeps a very classic 3 Series look, which let me get this pulled up.
It has a frunk, Sebastian. It has a frunk.
Because you're not sharing your screen, Joel.
Oh, I'm not?
No.
Oh, my God. I'm sitting there staring at these pictures. Why did it not?
All right, as soon as we went to talk about the design, I was like, wait a minute.
I didn't hit the share button. That was my fault. Yep. Here I go right now. And now we are ready. There we go, people.
Yeah.
All right.
You might as well scroll back up to the top.
Let me go back to the top. There's a lot of pictures.
So design-wise, this does still keep a very 3 Series look, having that the similar kind of, I think they call it a 2.5 box shape. But it also has some of the design cues that we saw on the new iX3. Mm-hmm. And you see this on the interior as well. It keeps the wild hexagonal infotainment screen, the dash spanning HUD and instrument cluster, etc. It has a very similar compute platform with a zonal architecture and kind of centralized compute modules. Pretty good, pretty cool. I think it looks pretty good. I actually really like the design. I've seen some people are a little controversial on it, like, I don't love it, whatever, but I feel like it's a pretty solid look.
I'm digging the thing at the bottom of the display at the bottom of the windshield. That's really cool.
Yeah, so that's that one, the kind of heads-up display, instrument cluster, combo, whatever, very customizable. I think it's pretty neat.
Interesting way to show you your speed, yeah.
And whatever else you want to put up there.
That's an interesting steering wheel.
Yeah, so that is my one complaint on the interior. You will be able to get a normal steering wheel.
Okay, good.
Because I don't think I could do this 12, 3, 6, 9 o'clock spoke situation.
Has spokes at the top and bottom and not in the sides.
But anyway, this new vehicle is being built in Munich, with production set to start in August of 2026. BMW has not given us full pricing, but I've seen the number $60,000 thrown around for pricing of the i350 xDrive, which again, that is not the base model as far as we know. So they might be able to get one for cheaper. On the subject of the i3, BMW has confirmed that the current i4 will be going away soon. The i3, this is meant to be the spiritual successor to that car, which makes sense.
It does.
I always thought it was interesting that they called it the i4 because it really wasn't, I don't know, it didn't feel like a 4 Series to me, seeing it on the road, but I guess it was based kind of on the gas 4 Series, so that makes whatever. Anyway, this is supposed to be the spiritual successor. Is there any pictures of the rear end on that in that list?
Yeah, let me go back to the exterior photos. So go to share. Let's go to share. Here we go. We scroll down
Because I just want to know what you think about it. I'm just curious.
I will say this. I like let's go back to first off, the front end is a whole lot better than on their current models, I believe. I think the really good looking front end. Back end looks like a Honda. It doesn't give me any wow.
Yeah, so I've seen some. I don't mind it at all, but I have seen people say that it feels like it's missing something. Like it's a little too flat, generic kind of styled. But like I think like the side profile is very classic. Like it looks like a BMW 3 Series. Like it is spot on. Whatever. I really dig those wheels that they are showing it in. Nice. And and I like the kind of the way they integrated the kidneys into the light signature, whatever, and not in a way that's just absolutely god awful. And and I just love too that this is the i3, and the last i3 we got in the US had skinny bicycle tires and was like a carbon fiber tub, whatever, just like the complete opposite of this
looks
vehicle.
Like nothing like the original i3. Nothing. Totally different.
Which there was a secret i3 in between that one and this one, but it was a China only car, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, that's just really cool, Sebastian. I get a lot of Volkswagen vibes from this.
I'm excited to see these start hitting lots, hitting dealers. I'm not a $60,000 car person, but this seems like a lot of car for the money.
Totally agree.
And kind of some of the initial things we've seen on the iX3 have all been super positive. Like, and if this is essentially the same car, just a sedan, I don't imagine that this will be a bad vehicle. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. I honestly, I've been so busy this week, I have not been able to keep up on the news happening. So when I saw you put this in for the news episode this week, I was pretty psyched because I'd had a chance to read about it. I've been so busy. So yeah, I'm glad BMW is not one of those automakers that we've talked about, like Honda and other ones that are kind of retreating, throwing up the white flag and say, nope, we're done. See you later.
Yeah. I'm
glad they're still moving forward with pushing out EV models, and excited to see this on the road here in the US.
Yeah, I'm also excited. So we've got the iX3 and the i3 now. I believe in a few weeks we're getting a new i7.
That's a beast.
You and I love the i7. We could never afford one, but
no. The only way I'd get an i7 if someone would drive me around in an i7.
I would get one if it was used in somehow 30 grand or 20 grand.
Can you drive me around in an i7, Sebastian, with those shades up?
If it's my car, you're driving me around, sir.
Yep. No, you're driving me.
All right, moving on.
Yes.
Volkswagen is introducing a new model. Kinda. So Volkswagen has been on a path to slowly start phasing out its ID number naming scheme for its EVs, with the first being the ID Polo, then followed by the ID Cross, which is the EV counterpart to the T-Cross, which is a crossover SUV sold overseas. We now know the next car to get this treatment. The ID4 will be going away, with the next generation being called the ID Tiguan.
Ooh, I got to find pictures of that.
So we don't know too much about it yet, but there have been some spy shots shown, and we can tell the outside does take a more traditional crossover look. And then the interior is expected to feature Volkswagen's new design philosophy and layout, meaning you get physical buttons. Woo!
Yay.
And really, I don't have a lot else on the story. Again, they've not officially announced the ID Tiguan. There's just been spy shots, and we know that's what it's going to be called. I mainly brought this up because I wanted to just have a conversation about naming in general. You know, back when GM started introducing their Ultium EVs, I was a bit of a contrarian and didn't love that they were kind of just using their gas car names.
Mhm.
You know, like the Equinox and the Equinox EV and the Blazer EV and the Silverado EV and the Sierra EV. I was like, why would you not make a new name for it? It's a completely different car. It has nothing in common with the gas vehicle. Why would you just take the same name and add EV? That's stupid. I don't get it. But honestly,
Have you changed?
I think I was wrong.
Yeah, I think you were.
I think they played it smart by doing this, by being able to say the gas, like people, if you're an Equinox shopper, then you know that an Equinox EV is going to be the same class of vehicle, same size, whatever, as the gas Equinox, and the Silverado is the same size and whatever as the Silverado EV. Like, I think in the shopper mind, it's like, oh, I can equate that to a car I already know exists. And I mean, I guess Volkswagen must think the same thing if they're taking it. And even though the ID Tiguan and the Tiguan are going to be completely different vehicles, having a similar name kind of puts it a shopper mind. It's like, oh, okay, these are comparable cars.
Yeah, totally agree. I get very confused, especially when we talk like Kia. We start talking about the EV9, the EV6, the EV5, EV4. I'm like, I can't in my mind wrap around what each one looks like because after a while they just start all blurring together.
Right.
That's why I like that idea of like what Chevy did is they had, like the Blazer and the Blazer EV. So what it kind of looks like. The size is going to be generally the same. The Equinox, a baser, a cheaper model than the Blazer and things like that. Kind of
Right.
like what Cadillac did, where they just came out with new names and not numbers. There's actually words out there you can use to name cars, people. You don't have to use numbers. There are lots of words in the English vocabulary that you can use. Optic.
You can even make up names.
Distic. You can make up names. We don't need the i273-14M Series X.
So this is an interesting thought for you. What if Kia, I'm not saying they would do this, what if instead of the EV9 it was the Telluride EV?
I would love it.
The EV6 was what? The Sportage EV?
I would love it.
I guess. And I'm just sitting there thinking, it's like, or how could, like, if Hyundai wanted to do the Volkswagen thing and kind of keep an EV moniker, but then have a normal model, but then that would be a bit too long. I'm like, Ionic Tucson. That doesn't make any sense. Or Tucson.
I mean, if you're going to make 3 models, if you're going to make a gas, a hybrid, and an EV, just keep it all the same.
Right.
I mean, I would be perfectly fine if they redesigned the EV9 in a couple years. It looked like the Telluride, and they call it a Telluride EV.
I think for me, I mean, I still have a little, like, I understand from a marketing perspective, it makes sense. I do still have a little bit of hard time just wrapping around as like, yeah, but it's a completely different car.
Yeah.
That, the Equinox EV and the Equinox share nothing, basically. They might share.
It's not like the Kona where the cars look very, very similar.
They're the same car, they're the same platform, whatever, just one has an electric powertrain and one doesn't. In that case, it makes sense that it's the same model. But it's like, I still have a little bit of fault. It's like, but they're completely different models.
Yep.
A part that fits the Equinox EV is not going to fit the gas Equinox. They probably have different brakes or whatever.
We can't make you happy, can we, Sebastian?
But I understand it from a marketing perspective, and that's why I'm willing to say that I was wrong from a marketing perspective.
Yeah.
Well, hey, if you're not making me happy, this next story is not going to help.
Oh, okay.
No more EX30 for you.
Sebastian's going to go into depression.
This week, Volvo announced that they will no longer be offering the EX30 in the U.S. market. So I'm going to leave for a second. I'm going to go cry.
Yep.
Okay.
While he's gone, don't forget to subscribe and become a member. Now we're back.
For those unaware, the EX30 is currently the smallest car in Volvo's lineup, and it is also the quickest. Not that matters a lot, but I just think it's so funny. And I just love the EX30 because, like, it's a fun place to be. It's fun to drive. It's fun to be in. I love the way it's like the materials on the inside, the recycled plastics, and the way it's laid out. Like, I just love this car. It's like a little running shoe that it's a hoot and a half. But unfortunately, those things are the reason it's failed or it's failing in the U.S., and it's not a surprise to me. Subcompact hatchback crossover things is just not a huge market in the U.S. And it had higher pricing due to tariffs and whatever else. And I mean, it was also more expensive because it is a Volvo. It's kind of that luxury brand, right? But in a market of other electric hatchback, small compact crossover situations, it's, 10 grand more expensive than a Bolt or 10 grand more expensive than a Leaf and things like that. And on paper too, it didn't have the best range. It was fine for the class of vehicles it's in. But when you start talking about spending $40,000, you want more than 260 miles of range.
You can get a Y for that
or
almost.
200
Yeah.
or 240 miles of range on the all-wheel drive models. And so anyway, Volvo will be pulling the car from the U.S. market by the end of 2026, and dealers will have their order books closed in the coming weeks. Volvo is citing, quote, market conditions and financial factors.
Or as we like to call it on our podcast, what, Sebastian?
Geopolitical issues, I think is what we say. Yeah.
Geopolitical, yes.
They're citing that as the reasoning for this change, but they still plan to bring the EX60 TVS, as well as the updated EX90. Good. And you will still be able to get the EX30 in Canada and Mexico. Joel, you and I can agree that we both love this car.
It was.
I think we can also agree.
They couldn't get the price.
We are the issue with why it's going away.
Yep.
Everyone who drives one loves one, but everyone who drives one hasn't bought one.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately there are compromises to the vehicle, and that's part of why I don't think it's a big market in the U.S. for because the back seat's there, but it's not really usable.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of people that are spending $40,000 on cars that are, into a car that could only seat effectively two people without actually buying a true sports car like a Corvette or something.
Well, like I said, for $40,000, you're almost to Model Y pricing. You're definitely a Model 3 pricing. You're almost to Model Y pricing. And it's a much bigger car with better range, better charging, probably. It's just they couldn't get the price right. Now, if the price was like $29,900, then we may be talking about something different. But they just with the tariffs and everything like that. Yeah, when we drove one, they did tell me these are the ones being built in Belgium. I believe they said the EX60s would be built in Belgium, eventually being built in South Carolina. That's what the dealer told me.
Something like that, yes.
Something like that. They're going to start in Belgium, and if things go well, they'll bring production to their plant in South Carolina, my hometown. Shout out. Yeah, I mean, it's a great car. We loved it. It's a rocket. It's got some get up and go.
It's funny, on Monday, no, not this Monday, I guess next Monday, we're going to have a review of the single motor come out. We've driven all three of them. And of course, right after we film it, they announced that it's canceled.
It will be
This isn't the first time
tribute.
This has happened to us.
Yep.
We reviewed a Model S video and a Model X video right after Tesla announced they were going away. And
we need to work on our
not
timing.
The first time we've done this.
Yes.
We'll really
call
good
it
at driving
tribute
canceled
to
cars.
the EX30. We'll do a little tribute for it. Send it off.
We'll play In the Arms of an Angel or whatever.
We can't sing it. Sorry, that's right. Copyright stuff.
All right, moving on. Ionna has hit an important milestone. Ionna this week celebrated a huge milestone. They have opened their 100th location. While Ionna does acknowledge that this took some extra time because their original target for this was by the end of December 2025, I honestly still think 100 locations in 15 months is pretty impressive. I mean, it took them an extra 3 months. So they've had 15 months to open 100 sites. I mean, that's what? 6 sites a month?
Yep.
1 month must have 7 or something like that. Anyway, as celebration, Ionna has announced several ways for customers to save money at these locations. Their newest method applies to those with GM vehicles. Ooh. GM customers who use their My Brand app. So for those unfamiliar, My Brand is how GM refers to their app, because the My Chevrolet, My Cadillac, My GMC, I guess those are the only ones that apply to EVs, My Buick, are all essentially the same app. They just have a different logo.
Yep.
Or if you use Plug and Charge, which you set up through the My Brand app to activate the sessions, you will receive a 10% discount on all charging at Ionna. Ionna has said to expect similar deals for owners of cars built by one of Ionna's other founding partners. So there's, Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, BMW, Mercedes, not Mercedes,
Chevy?
maybe Mercedes, Stellantis, GM.
Yep.
Yes.
Here it is right here.
Toyota.
BMW Group, General Motors, Honda, okay. Hyundai, Kia, Mercedes-Benz, Stellantis, and Toyota. So 2 of those people don't even make EVs, but thanks for the money.
Ionna has also announced that moving forward, every new site to open will have discounted charging for its first week in operation with a rate of 20 cents per kilowatt hour. This is essentially half of what Ionna usually charges at most of its locations. Ionna has also not slowing down. They're so far in 2026, they have opened 212 stalls, and they have 4,700 stalls under contract and 1,500 in active construction.
Mm-hmm.
Their goal is, I think, 30,000 dispensers by 2030, I think is something I saw.
Yeah.
They
have
we've
slowed
talked
down
a lot
a little.
about Ionna recently. They're slowed down a little, maybe not even through any fault of their own. Construction generally slows down in the winter.
Yep.
Right. But nonetheless, I mean, they're still rocking and rolling.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, they're reliable. They seem great. In the times we've used them, we have a site here in Arkansas that isn't really honestly that fitting for kind of what a lot of them are. Like, there's no canopy or anything like that, but it's still, I mean, reliable hardware, fast charging, decently priced. I mean, I think at full price, that site's like 41 cents a kilowatt hour. It's 15, 16 cents cheaper than the EA that's right down the road and 50 kilowatts faster.
Yep.
So yeah,
I'm
anyway.
curious if they're going to keep kind of that same 65-35 ratio CCS to NACS, because that's what it currently is.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they move forward.
Is it more of a 50-50 as we move forward on these new sites? Is it more swinging the other way? Because you would think with everyone moving over to NACS, you would be adding more NACS.
But also everyone is moving over to NACS very slowly.
Yes.
We're discovering that the automaker supply chain does not move quick.
Does it? Yeah. Especially for some of these. So yeah.
All right. And our final scripted topic for the night, Rivian and Uber this week struck a deal on robo-taxis. Wasn't really expecting this one. Over the next 5 years, Uber is slated to invest $1.25 billion into Rivian in exchange for 10,000 R2 robo-taxis. The deal is written so that if the initial 10,000 robo-taxis go well, Uber could potentially buy an additional 40,000 vehicles by 2030. Uber states that the first vehicles from this deal should hit the road in 2028 in both San Francisco and Miami. And of course, it's too early to know how similar these Uber RTs would be to the consumer models. While it could use the same suite of autonomy sensors, it does seem likely to me that there's going to be some upfitting involved, either in the form of LiDAR or extra cameras or camera washers, etc. I don't feel like these will be, one-to-one clones of the consumer cars. There's surely going to be something different. But it's still pretty early days. I mean, we've got a long time to see this, but I don't think anyone really expected this deal.
No.
Or at least at this point, Rivian has said that they have autonomy on the brain, like it's a focus for them, etc. But we also know that the current state of like the universal hands-free platform and all that it's not to FSD levels. It's gotten way better, but it's not to that point yet. And so I just think it's interesting to see this kind of coming so soon. And it's interesting because this means Uber basically has their eggs in every basket.
Yeah, everyone.
They currently have a partnership with Lucid, and I think it's Neuro. Is that how you say it? N-U-R-O.
Sure, we'll go with
to build robo-taxis. They have a partnership with Waymo in select markets to where you book the Waymos through Uber. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just interesting to see that they're kind of trying everything, throwing money in all these different robo-taxi directions, maybe to see who's best, see what sticks. I don't know, but good for Rivian. $1.25 billion can't hurt.
Yep. Looks like the initial investment is $300 million, which that's good. And it looks like they're going to expand to 25 cities by 2031. So, question for you, Sebastian. Let me stop sharing. How would you feel if you were an actual Uber driver about this?
Probably not great.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious why Uber's doing this.
Yeah. You think?
It's pretty obvious. That said, as someone who likes tech and all that, like I can definitely appreciate it. And as someone who's also been in some pretty bad Ubers, I can appreciate it. But also, I mean, that's some people's livelihood. It does suck.
Yep. Yeah, it does. I was thinking about but you are still, 4 or 5 years
we still have
away
time. It's still a little while to go, but
and it's not going to be in every city, so it's not going to affect Uber drivers here in Little Rock, the 13 that we have probably. because I can't never get an Uber to the airport at 5 o'clock in the morning. So,
Right.
yeah, so I was curious, like, how are we going to see this, autonomy affect these Uber and Lyft drivers, not just with Uber releasing this, but with Waymo expanding also and Tesla with
Yeah, I
their
mean, I'm sure Lyft is
robotaxis.
playing around with robotaxis.
I'm
Or
sure they're
I
going to.
guess robotaxi is the trademark name for Tesla. Autonomous taxis, I guess, is we'll call it.
I mean, this article, they called it robotaxis.
Actually, I don't know that Tesla. I don't think Tesla actually won robotaxi. I think
No.
someone else claimed it.
Someone
Anyway,
says the R2 robotaxi, so someone else has it that they're paying money towards.
Anyway, but yeah, it is. I mean, it does definitely stink for the industry. This is a similar discussion, but this is the same discussion people have been having forever.
Yep.
As they've built smart farm equipment that can drive itself and using GPS and all that, and that's been a topic of conversation.
Those little delivery things we saw in LA that were just going down the road.
Or the little delivery robots going down the road, or in factories having the little robots that can move the entire shelves, or like at fulfillment centers, or people have been talking about with the like Tesla Semi, if the trucks are driving autonomously, then you have a neat, what about truck drivers? What about, this is kind of the path we're going down.
I think so.
And as cool as the tech is, it is a little concerning as a human. So
It is. It is because, AI is taking over the world and hopefully it doesn't take over us one day.
It might.
It might.
Probably pretty easy, huh?
I probably won't be around for it. You may be, but I may not be around.
All right, that's too depressing. This is
let's talk something about lighter. Yes.
Yeah, Joel, what did we do this week?
Nothing. No, we did.
Damn it, man.
Dang it, man. Sorry. Monday we released a video about me and my wife's, basically mostly hers, but I can get her to talk. She's shy on camera, but still love her. Talking about our EV9 6-month ownership experience, if you want to call it that. And we talked about that and what we liked and what we didn't like. So that's out. Go watch it. If you're thinking about getting an EV9 or you're interested about the EV9, that's a full kind of almost a little in-depth review of kind of like the things that does really well and the things that, because Kia still does some things that are a little ticky and weird, like having to manually set your own clock for daylight savings time.
and then sending an email out to tell you that you need to do it
to
manually.
Remind you to reset your clocks.
When the button right above the manual daylight savings time button says set time automatically and it's turned on, but it doesn't actually do it. Anyway, sorry, continue.
So you have to go in there and hit the time to set it automatically. When you fall back, you turn it off and it goes off. It's just little things like that should be easily fixed with a software update, you think, but I digress. So yeah, we had that on Monday, and then Tuesday, and then Wednesday, kind of did a little deep dive about Honda, about what's going on with them, because after we released our episode last week, it's like we always do more news drops. We talked about the saloon not getting it right. So and then after we talked about that, we talked about the Prologue going bye-bye, because Honda said, well, while we're at it, let's just kill all our EVs. While we're at it, just screw them all. We're getting rid of all of them.
I almost wrote this in the doc and then didn't. Honda's coming out and saying that it's all speculation, that they might not be killing the Prologue.
So they're still going to Chevy build it for them?
The others are dead, but Honda's claiming that they haven't actually confirmed that the Prologue's going away and that people shouldn't be reporting on it.
I mean, it's going away.
I don't. Yeah. It doesn't seem likely that it sticks around. Although at the same time, they're not making the dang car. What's it costing them to have Chevy badge engineer the thing? I don't know.
I know.
I don't know how economies of scale work like that. I don't know what that deal looks like. Anyway, but yeah, so that's.
Yep.
And there's been a lot of discussion of, I mean, on one hand, kudos to Honda. They kind of came out and admitted that they didn't feel like they could be competitive. So what's the point in doing it? Which kudos to them. Companies never say when they're just not good enough. A
lot of them don't wave the white flags and say, we're done. Yep.
But at the same time, it feels like Honda's a big enough company that they could have tried. They could have done better.
I mean, they have the HRV, don't they? Just release that as an EV or something. The HRV, come out with a small little compact Honda Civic EV. It's not. That's a lot of letters here.
See, this is one of those situations. This is one of those situations of reusing your model names doesn't work. So what? You're gonna have the HRV and the HRV EV.
What about Civic EV? That would work.
That would work. That'd be fine.
Yeah. RAV4.
But like CRV
EV.
and CRV EV. I mean, come on, that's crazy.
Yeah. Toyota RAV4 EV if they ever decide to go down that point. But yeah, I mean, it's just interesting that they really never had an EV to cancel an EV because none of their EVs are technically theirs. But we digress. So yeah, if you're curious about that, want to get some back, there's a lot of different background on like actually what's going on behind with CEOs taking pay cuts and high executives taking pay cuts to write off this. What was it? $1 million? I forget what it was.
14.7 billion.
It was a B, I believe. It was like 14 or $15 billion write-off that they had to take on this. When this is, like we said, it's the first year that the first time that Honda's actually didn't make a profit. So yeah, so tough times to those
like
Japanese automakers.
Years. It's a crazy number.
Crazy years. But yeah.
7D.
7D. 70 people. 70. Yeah. Crazy times. It's weird because we have some people retreating and some people coming out with new ones. It's just a weird time to be in the EV market right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's it.
And then Friday is this video. And then next Monday, Joel got a new wall charger at EVSE for his house. We did a video with it. That should come out Monday, pending everything. Good. Glad you still like it after a week.
Yes. Love it. That skinny cord is
so that should be coming Monday,
amazing.
assuming nothing comes back funky on that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know what you're doing Wednesday. I think you're going to do a mini charge episode. That will be to be determined.
I'll figure that out Monday night.
So yeah, stay tuned for all that. If you want to see any of that early or anything like that, you can become a member of the channel. That does help us a lot. We don't charge anything crazy for the member. Full disclosure, YouTube takes a little bit of a cut on a $5 membership. I think we make $3.50.
Yep. And for those of you who are watching members, I haven't told Sebastian this yet, but those who are members, we are going to do in April a member only something for you. We're going to get on, chat with you, member only chat. We will do that with y'all. So those of you who are members, not a lot of you, but if you're a member, if you think about becoming a member, if you want to pick our brains or just chat with us, we are going to offer that to our members. I want to try doing something once a month for our members because it is starting to grow and that's great. Every little bit helps with equipment and subscriptions and all that. This isn't our full-time job. We work full-time jobs and things like that. So this is just something we do for fun and that helps. It helps pay the bills, which is great. Thank you for everyone who becomes a member and gives us that $5 a month that we see about $3.50 of. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you all for plugging into the Friday Charge. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts, tap a follow button on there, leave us a like, a rating, whatever your platform uses. It does help us grow. So long, everyone, and we will see you on the next episode of the Friday Charge.